Good morning. Let's get going with the 0700 operation briefing here from Clovis, our incident command post here. We are in unified command. Just a reminder that we are practicing COVID-19 guidelines. So if you're out at the Sierra or the China camp, you should be standing on an orange dot. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get going with the situation update.
All right, good morning, everybody. Don Fraguglia, Planning Ops. Give you the night shift update we just got from night ops out there. Starting up at the north end, it was a quiet night for the most part here along the zone. From the zone break, working back to the east. However, infrared does pick up a little bit of a heat signature across the South Fork of the San Joaquin, so we'll be validating that today, hopefully with some aircraft to find out if it has come across over there. Moving along. Over to Mono Hot Springs, another active night for the troops out there last night. Mono Meadows has fire almost all the way around it, so we're about done burning around there. The fire has gone east over the Kaiser Pass Road, in between Mono Hot Springs and the Pack Station and Lake Thomas Edison. Moving around to the south again, active night fire burned actively towards the south and towards the east. So we lost some containment features in there that we were working on last night. So today will be a day to look at how we're going to bring that back in. Along the Kaiser Pass Road, one other thing. We did have to reinstitute some evacuations out here around Florence Lake. Everybody was out of there. There's 4 families. We contacted them, so no major issue there, but we did have to do additional, put that back on red for the evacuation maps. Moving along Kaiser Pass Road, we did over here to the division pop a break again, some burning last night on the 05 road, on that Stump Springs Road. That was successful. They made quite a bit of progress, just about 2.5 miles, looking at the map there of what they burned last night. So they hopefully gained some containment in there. We'll be monitoring that and mopping up today. This down here north of Huntington Lake, this was also active yesterday a little bit. It continues to move north into the Kaiser Wilderness slowly, but there was some heat there showing again on the IR. Down into Huntington Lake, not many calls for service last night. In fact, this was all quiet all the way Jose Basin and back to the zone break. No calls for service, none of that. But this continues to be a focus of our attention. We continue to mop up and patrol, and it's just a ton of ground out there. So we're promised today we're going to continue to put black on the map and keep working that piece. So with that, that's your situational update. Thanks.
Thank you, Don. Weather.
Good morning, everyone. Incident meteorologist John Pendergrast. Well, that thick slab of dry air that we've had in place across the state is going to continue today. Minimal recovery in the humidity levels overnight. Kind of a same story as we had over the weekend. And obviously we had fire spread because of that due to the upslope winds that are developing. We're going to see those upslope, up valley winds developing once again today by late morning and continuing through the afternoon. It's going to lead to a very long period of very dry and somewhat breezy conditions, especially at the fire level at the higher elevations today. So the push is going to be in that direction off to the upslope direction. That's once again today what we're going to see during the day with a long period of conditions. Hopefully that glide slope is going to improve. We're looking at improving conditions as we lead through the rest of the work week, and we'll let you know more about that. Expect those slope winds to die down with dusk this evening, become a downslope down valley about 5 to 10 miles an hour during the course of the overnight period, with minimal RH recovery once again during the overnight period.
Thank you. Fire behavior.
Good morning, Jeff Shelton, Team 5 Fire Behavior. So the indice that we use to determine how much energy is available in the fuel bed that's exposed to fire is called energy release component. You guys are familiar with that. Right now, we are in the 100th percentile, which means we're setting records. We're in new territory for October. As a matter of fact, the values that we're seeing right now, if you trace those back to August, the beginning of August, we would be setting records in August. So I want you to wrap your head around that the calendar is not coupled with the reality you're seeing in fire behavior right now. You have to kind of think back to what you were seeing and readjust your mental picture of what's possible. This low RH is just fueling high probabilities of ignition. You're seeing that out there where when this fire, which is fuels driven but ventilation dependent, when it gets a little bit of air moving, I'm not talking wind, I'm just talking about air moving, the fuels are in such a state that that's all it takes to get the fire moving. The smoldering that you see in the morning with a little bit of smoke that's wafting up, when it starts moving upslope, you know it's going to go to surface fire. And then when that surface fire starts, eventually it's going to go into a low intensity surface fire to moderate intensity to high intensity surface fire, and that's going to go from being horizontal to climbing up in the trees. And that's all coupled with how much air is moving along the ground. It doesn't have to be wind exposed or anything like that. It's just that fire just needs a little bit of breath with the fuels and the condition that they are right now. The fire has moved into steeper terrain, specifically out in November, where it doesn't need as much wind once it gets that little bit of effective slope when the fire, the heat is pulling up the slope. So be advised that that may accelerate that process in a lot of spots, especially going up to Mount Gibbons here on that side. The other thing that is something to really pay attention to is the fire has moved into places that the fuel bed is much more continuous. We're looking at ERCs, how much energy is available. There's now more energy available out in front of the fire because the continuity of the fuels has changed. The fuels that are moving up to this bench that's below Mount Gibbons, it's a north-facing slope. It's got heavier fuels, but they're all bone dry. You're not going to get any extra moisture recovery with what we've had. Slope reversals, they will slow the fire down slightly if it's in your favor. If it's not, the fire is going to march and it's going to move with authority. So really pay close attention to that. For night shift, you can expect a reversal of what we're seeing during the day. The fire will go from torching to single tree torching to mostly ground fire, surface fire, and then more into a smoldering state as the winds and that ventilation turns off. But once the winds start going downhill again with that downslope at night, be attention. They're going to get more of a breath of wind. Today is not the day to just expect fire behavior. It's like, oh yeah, I expected to see it. It's a day to anticipate. Once you start seeing something, look ahead to that next trigger of what's going to happen so you can stay ahead of it. Think August, not October. Have a safe shift.
Thank you, Jeff. Operational assignments.
Okay, good morning. John Goss, Planning Ops Trainee. So we'll start with roll call. And for field operations today, we have McBath and Prather as his trainee. For night operations, Steve Burns. Planning Ops, Don Pergulia, Chris Stevens, and myself as trainee. For Branch 20, we have Via. We did add another division group, our Division Mike, which is TBD for as far as the divisional leadership. Division November, we have Marquez and Kennedy as his trainee. Division Papa, we have Hidalgo and DeHart as his trainee. Division Romeo, Olson. Night November Papa Romeo, we have Knox. Moving down the hill to Branch 25 and 29, we have Bontrager. Sierra Union, Lowry. Victor Whiskey, Stevens. And X-Ray Zulu, Watson. And our suppression repair group, we have Clint Wade with the trainee of Borello. Okay, work assignments today. We'll start up in Branch 20 in November. The focus of their work assignments in November today is protecting those values at risk. That's the High Sierra Ranger Station and the Mono Hot Springs Resort. Also, the second work assignment in Division November there is to finish up and be ready for any kind of defensive firing action that needs to take place around the Vermilion Valley Resort. Scooting back towards Division Papa, work assignments for Papa today are to continue to prep the intersection of that Stump Springs or 05 Road and the Kaiser Pass Road and hold that road there. Also looking into some indirect lines that starts at Kaiser Summit and heads west to tie into the existing black line and that Potter Pass Trail system there. Moving down to Division Romeo, Still focusing on securing that edge. And as you heard from Don, 8, 9, 10 days ago, there's just a plethora of dozer lines there mixing and matching there. So that's what's the folks are struggling in there to get a sense of which lines are inside, which lines are outside. So that work will continue in Division Romeo. Moving down to branch 25 and 29, CR Union. Emphasis as well is that branch break, division break, and focusing on all the mopping up and securing that edge. Continuing downhill to Victor Whiskey. It's been in patrol mode the last couple of days, but there's still a lot of work to be done inside as far as pulling hose and securing the last little piece of the hot edges there. And same for X-Ray Zulu, down into the lower portion there. Continue focusing on mop up and securing and backhauling any hose and such. For suppression repair, their efforts are still focused there south of Shaver, the Blue Canyon area, and they're also out at Stump Springs Road not that far, to continue there to keep that road open, following these snags, and looking at some of the repair work on that road. Okay, so back to the priorities today is definitely November, protecting those values at risk. Into Division Papa, holding that Kaiser Pass Stump Springs Road. And then third priority today is Romeo, securing the last little bit of work that needs to be done in Romeo. Have a good shift.
Thank you, John. And next we got Air Operations, John Kazee.
Hey, good morning, everyone. For today, the smoke is going to continue to be a problem for us. We're already getting early reports up at China Peak and stuff. The smoke's not looking good. But do us a favor and continue to call in those reports and give us updates on the smoke conditions. We will have air attack up, and we will not have a Helco, but we will have the Cobra will be up playing that Helco role today. So our regular Helco's on a day off. We're working out of the two helibases, Auberry and up in Mariposa. Mariposa was clear yesterday, and they were able to get a full day of flying, whereas Auberry was smoked out all day. So, again, we're going to have to play with the conditions and the smoke, and depending on where we can get aircraft out of. So, with that, have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you, John. The incident objectives remain the same. Ensure that you review those in your division breakouts. Safety.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Brian Savage, Team 5 Safety. Doing pretty well out there as far as the safety operations out there and everybody's work. Appreciate that. It's been a few days since we've had things that go sideways from the safety shop. Please maintain your situational awareness. There's still a lot of stuff that can get you out there. If you're working night shift, what the expectation is once you get out to where your assignment is, or as you continue to move around the fire doing different things tonight, please do a good risk versus gain assessment. Because there's some work we don't want done at night if the risk can't be mitigated. So it's okay to pull a safety car and say, nah, it's really not good for night shift folks with the hazards out there to do. We'll leave that for day shift. So that's okay to do that. We expect that good risk versus gain assessment. So appreciate that. And then just want to mention driving on 168 is continuing to be a high-risk operation for anybody. There's still a lot of traffic on that road day and night. So please keep your speeds down. Thank you.
Thank you. Communications.
Communications Unit Leader Ken Earl. Okay, so today, fire behavior forecasting is a good thing. I want you to do communications forecasting as well. In this area of Florence Lake, historically there's bad communications in there. Mount Gibbons is the answer to that, but we're not going to be able to fly a repeater into there. So you're going to have to use human repeaters. So when you post your lookouts, make sure that they're also functioning as human repeaters to get into that area. If you move around inside the valley, you may find sweet spots for communications in there, but just know that that's going to be a challenge for you that you're going to have to face. The other good news is that the road to Shut-Eye has been snagged, so we're going to be able to remove the hub, which from Music Mountain to Shut-Eye, which will lighten up that Mammoth Mountain repeater, which will shine down into the areas that you're working in November and Mike a lot better. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Medical.
Good morning, Jeff Orlando, Medical Unit Leader Trainee. So today we've gone over emphasized the 8 line. Please kind of have an idea what's going on. And with the hot, dry weather, please stay hydrated. We're getting a few complaints of dehydrations. Don't rely on a bird coming in. As Air Ops said, it's very smoky up there. So have a plan in place. Try to get the patient, if they're stable, to China Peak to get medical care there. There's a medical facility there. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. RNC comments. Dean Gould.
Morning, Dean Gould, Forest Supervisor, Agency Administrator for the Creek incident. Just a couple quick things this morning. Again, I want to express my appreciation really on behalf of the over 1,000 vehicles that we were able to process onto the forest this past weekend. Folks inspecting their homes, bringing their insurance adjusters with them, getting their boats out, buttoning up their homes for the winter. They're able to do all that because of the fantastic progress that you've been making on this incident so far. We'll still have to process a fair amount more next weekend. That'll be an ongoing operation, but I just want to thank you again on their behalf. It was a tremendous relief for them to be able to get in, and some cases it was not so good news, others a huge relief. Definitely there was more success stories there for folks, and excuse me, than there were that folks had lost things. So again, thank you for that. Second, as far as this incident goes, really good progress on the south side, but as we're seeing, it's persistent. It has everything it needs and then some. You know, it has virtually unlimited fuels readily available, and they are as ripe as they can possibly be to just go up, as Fire Behavior was describing, with just the slightest bit of encouragement, they're just going to go. And so with the resources we have here especially, we're not going to overpower this thing. It's not the planes, it's not the bulldozers, it's not any other piece of equipment that's going to win this. It's going to be you and your ability to outsmart this thing rather than try and overpower it. It has weaknesses too. We just have to recognize those, take advantage of those, and just keep at that. And you've been doing that so far. So again, please do that safe. I can't emphasize enough what was mentioned about risk assessment. Everything you're doing out there, please identify those risks, mitigate them down to a safe level, and if you can't reach that point, well, then you just look at a different option. So thank you again for all you're doing. Have a safe day.
I see closing comments. Dustin Mueller.
All right, good morning. So I want to start off with a couple things. The weather is challenging us. You know, that's a known. It's challenging us physically, and also the lines that we have out there that we're trying to hold. Another thing is at the point of this fire, we have a highly complex fire. It's a 2-zone fire with unified command over a large landscape. So the complexities are there, multiple camps, branch camps, ICPs, at least 2. So the thing that on the back of my mind and the other ICs are accountability. We need to maintain accountability. I know you guys have been doing that, but I want especially operations all the way down to the first-year firefighters maintain that accountability. We have people scattered all over the landscape, and we need to watch out for each other. Another thing I like to think about at this point of the fire is, remind yourselves that it's not just you and your team or your engine or your crew, is situational awareness for everyone. Maintain that, because you want to give yourselves and your fellow firefighters a heads up when something's going on. If you also think about the first 4 letters of situational awareness for everyone, it spells the word safe. And that's how I think about safe. And that's what I want you guys to be today. Look out for one another. Maintain that good safety record that we're doing, and also maintain that good mutual respect that we're also doing. Have a great shift.
Thank you for that. Okay, a few closing comments. On page 32, there's an HR message, and we do have a training specialist now assigned to the incident. So they're located on page 44, and they're working virtual. There's some QR codes that work. And then if you are demobbing today, follow the instructions on page 43. That will help you get off the hill and demob in a safe and a fast fashion. Okay, so unassigned resources out there, go to your division breakouts that are posted. Our next operational briefing here in this room at 7 o'clock. We do have a cooperators meeting here in this room at 10 o'clock. And our next planning meeting here is this evening at 1700 hours. Enjoy your day and be safe. Thank you.